Hello YouTube, this is Dark Umbreon 1393 here with my first YouTube video ever. It's kind of sad. But I just got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And, want to get into tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And been doing a lot of research on what deck I would like to take to the next regional tournament that I'm going to go to with the new ban list that will be coming out March 1st, or basically has already been leaked. I made a deck here to that format. Didn't really have to change anything because this deck isn't really used that much. A lot of people don't use this kind of deck. It is in fact a worm deck. Found a lot of got a lot of interest into this kind of deck. Didn't think it would run too well, but I've been playing it a lot on Dueling Network, and I've been getting a lot of good results out of it, playing a lot of top-tiered meta decks. Wind-ups, Fire Fists, Six Samurais, Heroes, all kind of decks, and actually doing pretty well, if not winning, actually doing very, very well with this deck. So yeah, so I wanted to profile it for you guys, and please just give me your comments, subscribe to my new channel, and hopefully have more videos to come, and hope you enjoy my deck. For the first card, 3 Worms X, basically the main card in the deck. He allows you, when you normal summon him, you send a card to the graveyard, or you send a reptile worm monster to the graveyard, which you will most likely send Worm Jagen, which is also one of the main cards, the main worm card in the deck. Basically your evacuation compulsory device. When it's flipped, you get to bounce an opponent's monster back to their hand, which can be very useful getting around a lot of cards like a Six Samurai Shien, or Wind-Up Zenmaines, cards like that really get in the way. A very, very good card to have. Worm Kartaros is the 3rd worm in the deck. Is your search card. Not a lot of, I didn't really add too many cards that will actually search for others in the deck. So basically your Worm Kartaros, if you need him, he's there to search for your Zex or a Jagen, or whatever card you might need. Worm King is the last worm monster card of the deck. Basically your main beat stick, the big boss monster, if you will, if you want to call it. Has a good effect. Usually he's an 8-star, so usually you would have to tribute 2 cards for it, but if you tribute a reptile worm, then all you have to use 1. And has a good effect. You can tribute 1 reptile worm monster to select 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. Very good card. Can get around back row, can get around it, Spear Reapers, whatever cards that your opponent has there, it can get around a lot. Okay, so for the tuner of the deck, I have a GeneX Ally Birdman. I added him for a card, GeneX Ally Triforce, which I will explain what he does a little later. Has a good effect, especially if you have a Worms X on the field, especially if you have a Worms X on the field, and you have GeneX Ally Birdman in your hand. You can use his effect to bring Worms X back to your hand and special summon GeneX Ally Birdman. Then you can summon a Zex and then bring a monster back to your graveyard again if you need a Jagen or something. Because if you use Jagen's effect to bring it from the grave and set it face down, when it goes to the grave, it'll get banished and removed from play. So you might need another Jagen in your graveyard just in case. So GeneX Ally Birdman is there to do that, and you'll be able to actually synchro for level 7, which can be good, especially if you need a Black Rose Dragon, or if you need a GeneX Ally Triforce or anything like that. Very good card to have, especially with this worm deck. 2 Thunder King Ryo, basically used to stop a lot of the meta decks, Mermail or Wind-Ups, and any card like that. Honest is an excellent card to have. Everything is basically light type in this deck, except for maybe the Birdman, the Birdman and a few of my sideboard cards. But that's basically it. Everything else is light. The worm cards don't have that heavy of an attack, especially if you get caught having a Yagan or a Kartaros in face-up attack position. Honest is there to back you up. I like to run 2 Effect Veilers. Better than... I don't like Maxi. I never really got into using Maxi. I rather use 2 Effect Veiler. Solely because, especially, topping the meta today, 6 Samurais, or Dino Rabbits, or, and most decks run tour guides now, well, actually, they got hit, Sangan is getting banned, so tour guides are a little less useful in the new format, but especially with 6 Samurai Kageki, Dino Rabbit, and like I said, tour guide, if you Veiler them, you basically got a dead rabbit or a dead tour guide on the field, and easy to take out. For the spells, 2 Pot of Duality. Not much search power in this deck, except for the Worm Kartaros for searching monsters. Pot of Duality works very well. It doesn't allow you to special summon, though. But worms, you don't really have to worry about that too much, because you don't really special summon any card, except for maybe like a Worm Yagan or a Genox Ally Birdman. So sometimes you don't really need to worry about that. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. You need to get around back row sometimes, especially if you need to take out a Wind-Up Factory or any kind of Fire Fist, a spell card or anything that you need. Mystical Space Typhoon will be there to help you out. Basically the main staple cards, Monster Reborn, Mind Control, Heavy Storm, Book of Moon, Dark Hole, basically staple and pretty self-explanatory why they are in the deck. I wasn't sure about putting Mind Control in. It can be very helpful. You can use it to exceed or, get around a lot of cards with. Wasn't sure if I should put it in. I mean, I did put it in, and I plan on using it, but please let me know if Mind Control would be good for this deck. I'd really appreciate that if you guys comment and let me know, give me some recommendations on what I should do or not do with this deck. So now on to the traps. 3W Nebula Meteorite. Very broken card, very good card, especially for the Worm deck. They could use a broken card. Every other deck has a broken card, so I guess Worms can use it. Basically, you change all face-down monsters on the field to face-up defense position, and you get their flip effects, which is awesome, especially if you have a Yagan on the field. You get to bounce a monster back to your opponent's hand, but during the end phase, all light reptile monsters get set to face-down defense position, and you draw a card for each. So it gives you draw power. You're able to use a flip effect of a monster, which is great. Like I said, especially if it's Worm Yagan, you get draw power, and to top it all off, you get to special summon a level 7 or higher light reptile type monster from your deck. In my deck, in this case, it would be Worm King, who is a level 8 light reptile type monster. There's other high level worms out there, Worm Queen, Worm Prince, I don't think they're really necessary in any of the decks. I think mainly the Zex, Yagan, Kartaros, and Worm King are basically the main cards of the worms that mostly everybody will use. I don't think any other card is even worth putting in. Could be wrong, basically my opinion, but that's how I feel about that. 2 Offering to the Snake Deity. You target 1 face-up reptile monster, and you can destroy 2 cards your opponent controls. That's not bad, especially if you have, say you got a Worm Zex on the field, and Worm Yagan. You contribute the Worm Yagan, destroy 2 cards your opponent controls, and you could basically special summon Yagan back to the field again, face down defense position, so it's a good combo there. Well, unless you use his effect already to get summoned from the grave, because then it would get banished. Doesn't go to the graveyard, but, so yeah, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, pretty self-explanatory. 2 Mirror Force, 2 Deep Prison, pretty self-explanatory. Solemn Judgment, very good card, especially to get around, different spells or traps that might put you in a lot of deep trouble. 1 Solemn Warning, for the new format, of course, Solemn Warning got hit. I'm sure you all know that. It's limited now to one. Solemn Warning is a great card. You have to put it in there, even if it's one, you know, whatever. It's got to be in there. So, Solemn Warning, and 2 Starlight Road. Some people feel that 2 Starlight Road is too much. Maybe 1 is good enough. But I like 2. You're gonna have a lot of support, a lot of back row, and I feel that Starlight Road has protected me a lot, especially on Dueling Network when I have tested out this deck. It has helped me out a lot. I mean, a lot. A lot of people, I got Heavy Storm a few times, Dark Holes, whatever, what have you. Starlight Road was there to back me up. Brings out a Stardust Dragon, very good card. Okay, so now for the sideboard. I wasn't too sure on the sideboard, so if you, once again, if you have any recommendations for the sideboard, please comment and let me know. I have 2 Soul Takers, pretty self-explanatory. 2 Macrocosmos, basically your meta beater, if you will. Takes out a lot of decks, Dark Worlds, Mermaids, Atlanteans, you know. Chaos Dragons especially, I get a lot of wins against Chaos Dragons. I don't think I have lost to a Chaos Dragon deck with this deck on Dueling Network. And a few of them I didn't even have Macrocosmos, but Macrocosmos is a very good card, especially for Chaos Dragons. It'll make them completely worthless. So yeah, Macrocosmos is there. And now it's even better because it can get Solemn Warninged. But now that Solemn Warning is reduced to 1, you know, it makes it a little bit worth the while. 2 Overworked. I threw that in there because of Fire Fist. Fire Fist did not get hit with the new ban list. Basically, just Wind-Ups did, and you know, that's basically it. So basically, the Fire Fists are getting stronger. And basically all they do is increase their monster's attack points. So Overworked is a good card to throw in there. You know, maybe sub in for a Deep Prison or Mirror Force or something. You know, something. Get a substitution in there. 2 Gozen Match, very good card. Basically my whole deck here is a light attribute. A lot of the extra deck cards are of light attribute. Because I have Gozen Match sideboarded. Some decks, you know, have different, you know, E-Heroes, they have all different kind of attributes, or, you know, a lot of decks have different kind of attributes, so Gozen Match will be good to side in if you need it. 2 D-Fissure, I'm not, you know, Macrocosmos and D-Fissure are sort of the same thing. D-Fissure is basically like the little brother of Macrocosmos. It only sends monsters, it only banishes monsters instead of every single card. You can activate it on your turn, which is a plus. Macrocosmos you have to set first. But yeah, not too sure which one I should put in, or if I should keep both of them in. Once again, please let me know on that. Fossil Dyna, pretty self-explanatory there. Gores, Spirit Reaper. I have found, since I have a lot of support cards in the deck, I have found to not get very fortunate hands and not draw too many monsters, or any monsters for that matter. You know, I feel that maybe if I, you know, side a Gores and a Spirit Reaper, maybe sub in for 2 traps or so, throw those in there for stall, and because worms can be a very slow deck. You have to make them a little more consistent, throwing in a Gores and a Spirit Reaper basically for stall purposes only. I feel that they might be good to throw and sideboard them. Light Ray Daedalus. I might use a Light Ray Daedalus, I might use a BLS, or a Chaos Sorcerer or something. Probably go with BLS if I can get my hands on one, but I don't have one. I do have a Chaos Sorcerer, so maybe a Chaos Sorcerer. But a Light Ray Daedalus would work. It's also good for playing against maybe a deck like Gravekeepers who have Necro Valley, or you know, some people play you know, 6 Samurai with a field spell or something, you know, I don't know, or E-Heroes with Skyscraper or something. You know, Light Ray Daedalus will target a field spell, destroy it, and then destroy 2 other cards on the field. Could get you out of a lot of tight jams. I haven't actually used it yet, haven't had to. Basically, nobody uses field spells that much anymore. Very rarely see them. So yeah, maybe go with the Light Ray, maybe go with a BLS once I get it, but we will see there. Okay, so now for the extra deck, I have 2 GX Ally Triforce. Pretty self-explanatory if you know what the card does. If you use synchro it with the light attribute monster, you get to once per turn, you get to select the light monster in your graveyard and special summon it in face down defense position. Very good for this deck, especially with Worm Yagan, if you have him in the graveyard, or Worm Kartaros if you need to search your deck for a monster. Very good card to have, and it has decent attack power at 2500. 7-star, very easy for this deck to synchro with Birdman, and you're most likely always going to have a Zex on the field or something. So that's why GX Ally Triforce is in the deck. 2 Stardust Dragon, Starlight Road, 2 Starlight Dragon, 2 Starlight Road, 2 Stardust Dragon. Makes sense. Not gonna have 1, not gonna have 3, so 2 Stardust Dragon in there. 1 Black Rose Dragon and 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, basically self-explanatory. Wind Up Zen Mains, I threw him in there because it's a very, very good card. A very good card. The only level 3s that I really have are GX Ally Birdman and Spirit Reaper. But if sometimes I actually did use him one game where I had 2 Birdmen on the field, and I was able to exceed for Wind Up Zen Mains, and actually helped me win the duel, so I threw him in there. Very good card, very good to have, very hard to get over. You gotta get the right cards to get over it. So yeah, it's a pain in the butt, and it's a good stall card too as well, if I need to. 1 Shockmaster, excellent card, love it. Should be basically in every deck. If you do get, 3 monsters on the field, this is the first card I would go to. Especially with Firefish, if you can't activate spells, or 6 Samurai, you can't activate spells. It really disrupts a lot of gameplay. 1 Maestroke, Steel Swarm, Utopia, Photon Papal Operative, Gaga Cowboy, pretty self-explanatory. I like Black Ship of Corn in the deck. Not a lot of people know about this card, or what I think. Not a lot of people. I haven't really seen this card too much, but it's an excellent card. It can get around so many things, especially a Wind Up Zen Mains. If your opponent has a Wind Up Zen Mains on the field, Black Ship of Corn will take it out with ease. You get to detach a Exceed Material monster from this card, target a face-up monster with less attack, send it to the grave, and then you get to pierce 1,000 damage to your opponent. Great card, love it. I love doing it to people in the end. A lot of people get very angry and rage quit. So yeah, very good card. And I have a rank 8 Exceed monster in the deck. A couple games on DN, I did get 2 Worm Kings on the field. So if I really need something, I can go with an Exceed rank 8. And I picked not many to actually choose from. I went with the Sun Dragon Overlord. You contribute any number of monsters from your hand and your side of the field to destroy an equal number of cards on the field. Can be very helpful, especially to get rid of back row cards or anything. And it's a big beater, 3,000 attack points. Yeah, excellent card. So yeah, basically this is the Worm deck. Looking forward to taking it to my first tournament, my first regional tournament, I should say. March 2nd, I think it is, just a day after the official ban list comes out in the US. But it's already leaked, so we already know what it is. But look very forward to hearing from your comments. Please rate the video. Yeah. And I just timed out, so Thanks for watching the video. See you on the next video, YouTube.